Here we go. It is your business and property entrepreneur podcast here again. This evening, we got a cracking guest on here who's got extensive experience as a property entrepreneur, as a business and property entrepreneur. So that's good news. That's good news. So for those people that are watching it live, you're in for a massive treat, because we are going to be giving away. We want to assist people to live the 5 freedoms: financial, physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual. And we know one of the biggest impacts that's helping people achieve that is one-to-one coaching. Yeah, so put it in the comment, one-to-one. Just put the numbers like this. Yeah, how do we do this? Yeah, where is the where is the chat? I don't see the chat. Yeah, so put it in the chat. Just put 1-2-1 if you would like to be in a chance to get some one-to-one, help your business, help yourself move forward. Yeah, so there we go, it's come up now. Yeah, we got the chat, 1-2-1. Yeah, so tonight's guest, he has built a multi-million pound empire. He's created freedom for himself, and now he wants to assist other people do the same, even starting with people on his street. Yeah, which is fantastic. So welcome to the show, Mr. Dominic Adamczyk.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, good. And we can see some people are commenting already. So look, to be in for a chance to win to win some one-to-one, what you need to do is you need to share this feed wherever it is that you guys are watching it, and then you need to tag at least 10 people in it. Yeah, tag 10 people in it. So let us know that you've shared it. Let us know so we can give you a shout out, and then let's get you moving forward and take it to the next level, because it's definitely one of those things. You know, so Dom, when did we know each other? When did we come across each other? 2020, right? Everybody's favorite year. So just give us a backstory. What was Dom like growing up, and then what was the whole situation that made you think, I want to invest in property, I want to build a business in that industry? What happened? Just give us the brief highlights of what it was like growing up and how you got to that point.
Yeah, I think just growing up, it was a standard. I had a mum and dad that supported me all the way through, so it was a nice childhood. Growing up all the way through university, went into recruitment as soon as I finished university, and I was working 12-hour days, which at the time I thought was brilliant. Like, you know, you're doing business, like you're turning up to work and you're doing business, like you're walking down the streets in London and you're wearing your suit and looking dapper. And then one of my friends, or one of my wife's friends, convinced me to come along to a real life event on literally 4 years ago, 2 days ago.
But what got you to that point? Like, okay, you're in the corporate world, you're feeling good about it. Like, what even made you think about property or investing? Like, what was that trail of thought?
I didn't. I just turned up to the event because I got like strong-armed into going. So I turned up, and I was just expecting to enjoy it, but not really get too blown away by it. And yeah, the 2 days was a massive transformational moment for me in my life.
So you weren't even bothered. Like you weren't even like, what was your path, or what was your main goal at that time then in life? Like, how did you think you were gonna, live life or achieve goals, or did you have any of that back then?
No, I didn't really have like long-term goals in place or anything. It was just to keep working my way up the corporate ladder. So I was a director of a recruitment agency at the time, which is a nice salary. There was commission that was being paid, so I was doing all right from a money perspective. But then you move up to the next stage and you get a higher salary, better payout. So that's where I was going. That was my route.
So you're saying it was your wife, Kate, yeah, who said you got to go to this thing?
Well, Kate and Vicky, who is part of the Real Life Tribe, they went into property training about 3 years beforehand. So they're almost in it for 7 years now. But Kate didn't do too much with it. Vicky went into property, did more stuff with it, joined Real Life, and then said, Dom, you've got to support Kate because she wants to get into property. So I was like, all right, I'll come along to the event. I'll see what it's all about. And then it turned kind of full circle where I was the one that was the driving force to get into property after that.
That is super interesting, because normally when I ask people, like, tell me this story, some people have got like this long story about, I've always wanted to do property, I've always seen, you know, that like the potential in it, or some story like that. You're saying you weren't even interested or bothered, you just went because you wanted to be a good husband. Is this what I'm hearing?
Pretty much, yeah. The whole thing for me was, I don't need to earn much more money. I'm doing all right. Like, I'm happy doing 12-hour days, because everybody else that I know is doing 12-hour days, because I was in recruitment with loads of other people that did recruitment. And so that was just the way of the world. Yeah, so I turned up just going, I'm happy to be here for 2 days, and that's about it.
Crazy stuff. Hey, let me know in the comments, are you relating to what Dom is saying here? Like, some people, they just tell us, hey, we've got to make our way up the corporate ladder, or, you know, just make enough money. We work, you know, silly hours and all of that stuff. Let me know in the comments. But also, if you want to be a chance to win some coaching, we're going to be giving some coaching. We want to help people move forward. We think if you want to earn more, the year is 2024. That almost rhymes. Yeah, so hit the share button. Let us know you shared it. Tag at least 10 other people in this post right here, right now, to be in with a chance to win some coaching to help drive your mission forward, to drive your earnings forward, basically get you started in whatever business or property investing that you want to do, become a property entrepreneur. Okay, Dom, so from that point, what an interesting time that was. So explain to us what happened. You came there. Was there a tipping point where you said, right, I must now build a property empire, or was it still a slow burner, or was it just like, wow, no, this is it?
There was a lot of aha moments, like the breakthrough moments for me whilst I was there, which it was just a lot of little ones, to a point by the end of it, I was like, what have I been doing with my life? So understanding how easy it was to understand how to do the numbers in property, then to work out, hold on, so if I'm investing this much money, I get this much back, and I still own the property, and I'm also getting rent at the end of it as well. I was like, that for me is a no-brainer. And so I then started going down the route with my thought process too. So I can have this where I don't have to do too much work. If I could basically take my foot off the gas if I wanted to, then the same amount of money as what I'm earning at the moment, and not do 12-hour days. And that's where the tipping point happened for me. And then there's some other exercises that we do throughout it where it was like, I can do this. And I was a totally different person at the end of the 2 days. Kate will tell you that I came away not being married to my job anymore, and knowing that this was the route that was going to take us to freedom. And I hadn't really contemplated freedom up until that point. I thought it was going to get to 66 years old, I'm retiring, and brilliant, I can now live off of my pension.
Crazy
and that was
stuff.
it. And so totally.
So give us a bit of like how long you've been doing it, what's some results that you've got, so people kind of know what your experience is, and maybe they want to ask some questions while we're live here. So go ahead, tell us, like, what have you achieved from that point to now?
Yeah, well, I think it's important to note that when we did the event, it was 2 days before lockdown, which was a really interesting time, because you'd think that you can't get any property deals during lockdown because nobody's able to view properties. But because we joined the tribe at that moment, somebody in the tribe had a deal but didn't have the funds. We had the funds because we'd released some equity from our property in December prior to that. So we started off our journey from there. So within 4 years, and remember, this was with the lockdown happening as well, we've now got a property portfolio worth £3.4 million. By the end of this year, with the offers that we've got accepted, and when they're fully up and running, it will be closer to 9.4 million property portfolio.
That's insane. By the way, we finished the event on Sunday, and lockdown was on Monday, so it was actually one day after.
There we go.
Yeah, those crazy times, right? And nobody knew what was happening, no what was coming. But to be fair, you know, check this out. So you imagine, I want people who are listening to this to realize this, because some people, they're like, wow, okay, so 2020, Dom's earning great money. Now he's coming to this, and he's going to start his property journey. And the day after, the country, literally, not even the country, most of the world, yeah, just went into something that we'd never seen in this lifetime. And some people are saying now, you know, it's uncertain in the marketplace, prices are rising, cost of living and bills are rising, certain strategies like service accommodation are too unstable, the government are changing the rules. So what do you think, Don, like based on back then, how difficult was it for you to navigate through obviously these crazy changes that nobody have ever witnessed before versus what's going on in the marketplace now?
So I don't think there's a huge amount of change from people's perceptions on what goes on in the market. It's if something crops up, a big proportion of people, their natural instinct is to go, I'm going to stop doing that just in case, because I don't want to overstep the mark. I don't want to come unstuck. And I would say that actually COVID was the making of my life in a positive way. So I was furloughed for 3 months during, and I could have easily just gone, I'll just sit doing nothing. But I was positively taking action to turn this difficult situation, this really challenging situation for everybody, into a positive situation where I built my business out. Fast forward 4 years where there are lots of different constraints in the market. We went through material costs going up incredibly, like a huge amount of costs for, I think, 2020, end 2020, beginning of 2021, material costs went up massively. So we had to deal with that. We had to deal with price increases with properties that we were purchasing. We've had to deal with legislation from the government with HMOs and single banded council tax, which is now obviously defunct. There's loads and loads of different things that happen all the time, but it's not necessarily about what's happening at that moment in time. It's how you deal with it. So one of the things that you've taught me and real life has taught me is to just roll with the punches, like keep going. Like it's not over till it's over. Like there will be a way around something each time. Don't get worried about the situation. It's very easy to get caught up in it and say, this is me done. I need to get out. Or you can look at it and go, that's just a barrier. We get over the barrier. We move past it. And the more and more we do that, the easier it becomes. You build up this muscle memory of like, okay, it's happened, so what? Let's dust it off and go again. Because of that, that's why there have been some very successful people during all of these difficult challenges, because they're the ones that keep going. Whereas the ones that step back, you see that picture of the miner and they're going to get the diamond, but then there's another picture of another one walking away and they were that close to getting the diamond. It's just about keeping on going. You get to that diamond.
Exactly. So how did you get your
first deal?
Yeah.
So one of the tribe had found a deal in Peterborough, and we were on a mastermind. So they basically went on the mastermind, which is a Monday evening session with a load of different peers within the real life tribe, asking questions. And that person said, I've got a deal. I need some money. Has anybody got any? And we said, well, we've got the money. We haven't got a deal. So we had a couple of conversations and we said, yeah, this looks like a really good deal. We partnered together, created a joint venture partnership, and created the project from there. So we had a 6-bedroom HMO in Peterborough, which was our first ever deal, which got us on the HMO property ladder.
But your first one, right?
So you could say that we were accidental landlords. We bought our property in Lewisham in 2011, right when the market was at its bottom point. We bought at a really good time, and we more than doubled the value of the property. So we basically turned that into an investment property without even really knowing it. But that was our first proper, what people would consider a property investment deal. Yeah.
Yeah, but you lived there, right?
We lived in the one in Lewisham. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, very good. Yeah, so look, anybody who wants one-on-one coaching, we're going to be giving it away. Hit the share button, let us know you've shared it, and then tag at least 10 people in it, yeah, because we want to help people move forward. We do love people coming into our community and being able to add value, buy deals, invest in people, and who are trained, right? So one-on-one coach is one of the big things that do that. So what was then some of the other deals that you went on to do? Because I know you've done quite a variety of strategies. So just tell us some of the strategies. Tell us about some of your deals. You know, what happened with them?
Yeah, so I was talking about being convinced to go to the event by Vicky. We joint venture partnered with her and her wife B, and we've got a couple of additional deals in Peterborough, which are a couple of HMOs, both 6 bedrooms. We then, Kate and I, we got our first sole property, which was a we actually won that at auction for 100,000, which was like 40 grand below market value, turned into a 5-bed HMO. So that was one of ours. Then since then we've done another HMO in Coventry, which is with some of our business partners, Dean and Dan, who are fantastic business partners, loving working with them. We've also done a residential flip, which was on Homes Under the Hammer, which it's like such good marketing material for us because the quality of that finish was amazing. And that's all down to Dean and his construction business. And then we've also built out a rent-to-rent service accommodation portfolio as well, of 6 properties, or 6.5, because we joint venture with JP on one of them. And we're now moving into the purchase service accommodation space in apart hotels. So it's quite a varied portfolio in lots of different places in the UK. So especially the rent-to-rent service accommodation, we've got places in Liverpool, Leeds, Manchester. We're looking to expand that out even further as we speak.
Yeah. And what would you say to people, like, because some people are like, oh, it's too far, or, you know, something else. And we know we've got people investing all over the world, but like, what gave you the confidence to invest in all of these different places that maybe you haven't even traveled to, let alone, you know, been there for your deal?
Yeah, well, initially when we got into it, we decided on Peterborough because Peterborough was within a 2-hour journey for us. So Kate and I really wanted to go and visit the sites all the time. And that became too expensive, so we had to go further afield. We were still living in southeast London, and some business partners, our now business partners, Dean and Dan, came to us to say, we've got a deal, it's in the West Midlands, are you interested? And we created a joint venture partnership from there. Because we trust Dean and Dan, we know that they know what they're talking about, they know how to run their numbers, they're able to find amazing deals. And they're also, they run their own construction business, and they also own their own managing agency as well for HMOs. We built up this really good trust with them that they go off and find them, we know it's going to work, and then we go and visit every now and again. With the service accommodation side of things, we had some good deal sources that found some good deals. We have to do our own due diligence on them, of course, but then we work with JP as the managing agent for Pure Stay. And he then does an analysis for us as well and works out whether or not they're worth taking on. Because of that, we've got a really good understanding of what works and what doesn't work. We also have to say yes to the deal. It's not like we just give everything to other people to say you do all of the decision making. But by and large, it's turned into some really successful situations. We like hit some roadblocks along the way. We've made some mistakes, but we've learned from them, which is a good thing.
So basically what you're saying is what's been giving you the confidence is to actually work with other people who are trained and skilled and know the methodology as well. Yeah,
absolutely. Like we've worked with some other joint venture partners in the past, and there's nothing wrong with the partnerships that we've had. It's just that these ones, they are like fully trained with high level of training from mainly real life. And have been able to push things a lot further forwards than what we actually anticipated. We never thought that we would be nearly at 9.4 million by the end of this year because of the work that all of our business partners are doing, and that's credit to them.
Good. If there's anyone watching live, put #live. If you watch it on the replay, put #replay. And just let us know if you got any questions. Yeah, like if you're looking to get started, or you're already started, you got projects or properties going on, and you need help, you need some guidance, you want to ask us right here on this panel, you can go ahead and do that. Yeah, and also if people, let me know in the comments here, or you can message directly if that's where you prefer. But just let me know if you're in full-time work, but you are looking for some way, shape, or form to get out of it. Yeah, and on that subject, Dom, let me just ask you this: so, what is furlough?
Furlough is something that the government put together to enable businesses to keep their employees, but they technically couldn't work during that time.
Get you. So what you're telling me is furlough is where your business pays you to stay at home.
Pretty much, yeah.
Man, I've been on furlough for the last 6-7 years then. I like that concept. Let me know in the comments if you like the concept of being, so your business pays you to stay at home. I freaking love it. You know, I love it. Yeah. So yeah, I'm in full time.
I didn't. I hated it. I you know me. I like to do stuff. I like to be making stuff happen, and I like ants in my pants. So I just needed to do stuff. I didn't like sitting there doing nothing.
Yeah, well, I mean, basically, what you're telling me then is if you're going to be paid to be at home, then you need to then be doing something and getting some results. There's nothing better than I love taking this thing. Yeah, I mean, this is like fire. Yeah, this can either burn your relationship or your life. Yeah, or it can be used to be very useful. Yeah, and some people who limit their time on their phones and all the rest of it, I don't get that. I don't do that. Yeah, I like to use this to make money. You know, like if I can access Rightmove, obviously it's a telephone, I can speak to people. You know, I can access spreadsheets on here. I can access my CRM on here that's got my deal pipelines in it. It's got my investor pipeline in it. Oh, by the way, we can call investors. Oh, we can use social media. Yeah, different. So basically, pretty much every social freaking media on here. You know, messages, Trello, systems, you know, basically systemize your whole freaking business on it. Now, yes, obviously I have a laptop as well. But what have been some of the most useful things that you've got in place to enable you to run your business from anywhere? And your business, obviously, and your properties can be anywhere as well. Like, what are some of the most useful things that you'd like to share with people that you put in place?
I think the first thing is to get the right team in place, because if we spoke about trusting your team earlier, if you have the right team in place, they can take a lot of the admin type tasks off of your hands. So we've hired an assistant. She does a lot of the back office, admin, email management, and all that type of stuff. She's even now doing all of my video editing, which takes a lot of time off of my hands, which is great. So starting off with the team. Also, depending on what you actually want from your business, how hands-on you want to be, how hands-off you want to be. I want to be quite hands-off. I want to be strategic. I want to grow the business out rather than focus on the day-to-day stuff. So having a great team in Peterborough from a managing agent perspective, Freedom Homes, they do a lot of they do all of our HMOs over there, and they do a great job on finding people and filling the rooms and also all of the maintenance stuff. Same thing for the West Midlands with the HMOs. Our business partners, Dean and Dan, do all of the managing for that, and they've got a great business there that does it for all of Coventry and the West Midlands. And then the managing agent over in for the service accommodation, they do it nationwide with Pure Stay. So having those people in place and trusting that they will do the right thing all the time for the tenants that we have or the guests that we have, so we know that if anything goes wrong, they'll be on it. So that takes a lot of the weight off of my shoulders. Then it gets to the technology side of things. So I've come from a recruitment background. The technology was everything in order to be able to get ahead of the competition. So I've been tirelessly working in the background on finding systems that work in order to save my time. So as an example, something that we've just implemented recently is being able to systemize my LinkedIn work. So I barely touch it anymore up until the point of somebody actually responding back to a message. I've got all that systemized now, which takes a good 2 hours off of my hands that I used to do on the week. Making sure that the different things that we do on a day-to-day basis are recorded, so that when we have other team members join, we can pass over that knowledge to them straight away without having to think about how we do it. The deal calculators is like gold for me. It took me probably about 2 or 3 months to create the HMO calculator that we use now consistently, that my business partners use. We use whenever there's a deal we're looking at, we run all the numbers in the calculator. If the deal doesn't stack up, we can find that out within a matter of 20 seconds, and then we can move on to the next deal. Because of that, that saves us a lot of time on not having to go through all of the rigmarole and finding the deals, realizing the deals don't stack, and then having to pull out of the deal. And that comes back to things that you get taught in real life, you know, actually getting the offer accepted before you even bother going to view it, because then you saved yourself half an hour getting there, 2 hours getting there. Some people that I know, they travel from London up to Leeds to go and view a property. They don't even know if they're going to get the offer accepted. They walk around it, it might be all right, come back down, put an offer in, and it gets rejected. So that's like 6 hours, 8 hours of your day totally wasted on something that could have been done for a 5-minute phone call.
And people used to do it every weekend, right? Yeah, madness. So we've got some questions. Who's saying, Dom, how many hours a day would you say you put into your business now?
I mean, if you look at my calendar, I mean, you know how nicely color coded all my calendar can be. It's probably not too dissimilar to what I was doing beforehand. However, what I do is I put specific time, deliberate time in my diary for going to the gym, which I class as my fun time, and also taking my boys to all of their after school activities. It's all deliberate stuff put in there, but then I will work the rest of my week around it. So it can be up to 12 hours a day, but it's not necessarily like I'm feeling like I am working. I'm doing stuff that I enjoy doing, and the stuff that I don't enjoy doing, I've put in like a stop doing list, which gets passed over to other people.
Yes, very good. Yeah, Susan's asking, do you still have the little voice?
Yeah, I think everyone will always have a little voice, no matter what it is. So my little voice is creeping on more stuff that I don't do as much. So I do a lot of work with investors. I reach out to investors. I take a lot of calls. At half 5 this afternoon, I was on another investor meeting talking about them being prospective investors for us. But a lot of what I do is more the outbound stuff on social media and all that type of stuff. I would say an hour of my day maybe is on outbound phone calls to people, generating more and more investment. But I still have that little voice of like picking up the phone and saying, I've got to get on the phone, I've got to make that happen. And that still creeps in every now and again. But the cost of inaction is much greater for me than the cost of action. I'd much prefer to be moving forwards than moving backwards.
Yeah, good. So, you know, one of the things I think people need to consider as well about this whole how many hours you put in your business, I wouldn't necessarily say how many hours it is, but it's basically how you feel. Like, how do you feel? Because like you could have to do something for 2 hours only, but feel rubbish. Another thing you could do for 10 hours and feel great. So I think basically people need to pay more attention to their feelings. Because, you know, I remember I actually had one of these days, which I didn't have for ages. Yeah. Funny enough, I'll tell you what it was as well. I went to a property, but the only reason I went there is because my team asked me, hey, you know, we're going to record some content. You know, we need to go to the property to do it. And you tell them what the numbers are and all this jazz. And honestly, it was one of those days where I'm like looking at my watch thinking, I can't wait till the time is when I got to leave. Yeah. And it reminded me of like, wow, how many days did I spend like that previously? A lot. You know, when I was on the building site, I was like, okay, just want the day to go away. When I was, you know, in the corporate world, in offices and stuff, sometimes I look at it, I just want the day to go away. Yeah, these days, I mean, that's the first time in ages that I felt like that. But these days, I'm feeling like, man, I don't want the time. Why is the time going so quickly? Slow down. You know, like I want more time, even if it is doing even if sometimes my head's in spreadsheets or reports or this problem or that challenge or whatever it is. I like, you know, I like that. Yeah, so I think people need to consider how does it make them feel. Yeah, we've got loads of people on.
What I will say, Mark, is that recruitment, I love doing it. Like when I was in the 12-hour days, I didn't think that there was anything wrong with working 12-hour days. I loved it. The only thing that I realized after a while was I wasn't actually seeing my children.
Yeah.
I'd get home when they were in bed. But then moving on to what I'm doing now, it's so much more rewarding for me because let's face it, like I want to be putting money in other people's back pockets that actually are going to use it for tangible benefits. So the people that I'm working with as business partners, or even for me, I want money in my back pocket that I've earned myself rather than putting money in somebody else's that's not actually going to treat me favorably.
Absolutely. Yeah, good. Hey, look, we've got loads of people on loads of different platforms. Loads of people are entering this competition. It's not too late. Make sure that you share this on whatever platform you're on, or just tag at least 10 people in it. And we're going to be giving away some one-to-one coaching. So I can see some great names on here across all the different platforms, and how this would definitely assist you in here. So let's answer these questions here. So what is an acceptable ROI on your 6-bed HMO? Yeah, so I'll let you answer that, Dom, because I have an answer for that. But
yeah, so I don't actually look at the ROI as such. The calculator that I've set up tells me how long I leave money in the deal for, if at all. So if for like a 5-bed or a 6-bed, you're likely to leave some money in the deal. And I wouldn't want to leave money in the deal for more than 2 years. That's an acceptable level that myself and my wife have agreed. It makes it a deal. So that's why it's quite easy for us to turn around and say that the deal works. Other people do use return on investment as their barometer, but for me, it's all about like, can I pay my investors back in the right amount of time?
Yeah, I do look at the ROI. Reason being is I changed my strategy. I used to want to pay everybody back. Yeah, but then I realized that people don't want the freaking money back anyway. Yeah, and when you generate a lot of interest with investors and none of them want you to give the money back. Yeah, you gotta plow a lot of deals if you're gonna keep doing new deals. Because if everything was the money out and now it's like, well, I gotta give you your money back, or they're like, no, come on, get another deal. It's like new deal, new deal, new deal, new deal. So actually, I look at the ROI because what I want to do now is I don't pay them back because they don't want it back anyway. Yeah, and we just make sure that the ROI has to be more than what I'm being charged for the money, whether that's from the bank, whether that's from an investor. And when I see it, I don't mean like I'll borrow at 10%, I've got to make 12%. I'm looking at making like 50%, 60%, 100%, 120%. Yeah. And some of them can even be close to 200%. Because if there's only small amounts of money left in and the cash flow is monstrous, you only need to be at 12 or 1,300 pounds cash flow per month with 10 or 20k left in to be getting over 100 and up to 200% ROI. And if you can spread this around on all the deals, especially if it's your own money. I mean, you got to start parking some of your own money. And by the way, here's something for you. All these crypto boys, look, I've been doing it for a while. I want to position myself to be the go-to person. And I think you guys should do that as well. Of like, the people have got to take profits. This time, people are going to take profits. Where are you going to put your profits? Back in crypto? Keep it? No, you can't do that. It's got to go somewhere else that's going to produce cash flow. Because yes, you can trade cryptos and all of that, but that's not passive. Yeah, there's some other things you can do out there, and I get all of that, but it's not really solid, and sometimes they freaking disappear with your money. Yeah, so real estate don't do that. Yeah, and people have got to put their profits somewhere. So I would suggest that you get some deals that are earning good ROI if money is left in. Most of my deals are all infinite. Most of my stocks are infinite. Most of my cryptos are infinite. Why? Because the initial investment has already been taken out and moved on to the next thing. So what Dom is saying, if he wants to get the money out after 2 years or a maximum of 2 years, then that means now the ROI is just infinite. Now all of the cash flow is basically, just like the cash flow is happening, but there's no percentage to pay to anyone else other than obviously the mortgage, right? So yeah, that's good. What is people saying here? What is the most challenging thing about running your own business? And did you struggle when leaving the monthly wage of a salary job?
So I think the most challenging thing initially was working out what to do with my time, because I'd never, although I was quite senior in recruitment and I was telling people what to do with their time, and I'd created the way to make our business more successful. This was now my stuff. I hadn't really done property properly until joining real life, and so trying to work out what to do was a challenge. And so a lot of the work that you and other people that I know have worked with me on is creating a long-term plan. And all my coaching clients will say that I drill this down their throats as much as possible, because it is, for me, the most important thing to get right. So when you've got your long-term objectives, what we call your mission, you then can work back all the way to, as I said earlier, my color-coded calendar on an hourly basis and know what I'm doing all the time. But it was a challenge to get to that point. One of the biggest challenges was to even work out what my mission was. But as soon as that came into place, then everything else just slotted into place as well. I think because I've now got that really well lined up, and it probably has been the last 3 or 4 months that I've really started putting that into place every single week without fail, the week becomes really easy for me. If I know what I'm doing on an hourly basis, I literally just look at my calendar, I go, right, now I'm on this, and it's all very well planned out. So I don't necessarily have any challenging things about running that part of the business anymore. I'd say now moving forwards, the more challenging thing is just making sure that we can grow it in the way that I want it to grow, because we've got really big aspirations, £100 million of assets, £10 million worth of cash flow in within 20 years time. So in order to do that, we've got a motor on.
Yeah, good. Because I was just about to say, accountability is a big thing, and sometimes that's where people fall off. Like, they used to like getting up, having to drive or commute to an office or something like that. Sometimes when that's gone, and now it's like, well, you know what? I don't actually have to get out of bed. Like, sometimes that can, play with people's discipline and like test their discipline. So I would definitely say, like, Dom is now, pursuing, a purpose, a bigger goal, something that's bigger than him. And that's what drives and pulls him towards it. You see, most people, it's like the pain of like, I would get fired if I didn't, show up, is enough to keep them going, right? Just like get them going. Okay, I gotta go. Yeah. And that's okay. Pain will get you going, but purpose is what keeps people going. At least in my experience, and all the people that were going into the multi-8 figures, it's all purpose driven, because once you make a few million, like, you can actually, basically check this out, 10 grand a month. Unless you're crazily extravagant, like 10 grand a month, you don't even need that. Unless you're crazy extravagant. And basically, to pay yourself 10 grand a month for the next freaking 30 years is only 3.6 million. That ain't really that much. So, or it can be made. So it has to, like, there becomes a point where it's like the purpose becomes the drive rather than the pain that I just got to pay my freaking bills. Yeah. Or there is another way, just keep increasing your bills. That would drive you.
I think for me, the drive for my mission, empowering you to achieve total freedom and have fun, which isn't too dissimilar to your mission. It's everything. So when a decision needs to be made on, do I do something, I always go back to my mission. If I don't do this, is this going to allow me to hit my mission? And if the answer is no, I have to do it.
Yeah. And one of the other things that stops people is caring too much what people think. And that can be like, people say, yeah, I'm worried about what people think. Or one of the craziest ones actually is, no, I don't care what people think. As far as I'm concerned, that's bull. Because I care what people think. I just don't let it stop me. But I still care what people think. I just still do it. I just do it anyway. Yeah. So what I would say is, anybody who's not put themselves, just tag 10 people in this freaking post. We're going to give you some one-to-one coaching. There's plenty of people over all the platforms already, but it's not even about that. I just want you to start taking some action, because some people, what's harder, making £1 million in property, or just tagging 10 people on your device or whatever it is that you're watching on and sharing it? Like, what's harder? What do you think's harder, Dom? Tagging 10 people and sharing it, or making $1 million?
Making $1 million.
I think some people, it's harder to tag 10 people and hit the share button. It's harder. Because people be willing to put in hard freaking graft, man, for 40 years of their life, working 40 hours a week, and still probably over that course of time they'd make a mil, but obviously they'll never really have the juice. Yeah.
Well, some of the giveaways that happened in the past was free coaching, that now I've got 2 people that I coach on the free coaching because of it, and I've been working with them for 3 or 4 months and changing their perspective and the way that they're moving forwards. And that's my time that I'm giving up, volunteering for people. So if people aren't tagging at the moment, then the other people that they could be tagging might miss out on something big.
Madness, isn't it? Mad. Yeah. So go ahead. You still got a little bit of time. Make sure you hit the share button on this. Tag at least 10 people in it. Go ahead and do that. And we're going to be picking a winner before the end of this program here. Yeah, any of the questions. Ketan is saying, how much does coaching help you? Because obviously you're being coached, Dom, as well as coaching others. So how much does it help you, and what's the difference if you don't have it?
Yeah, so I've been coached for 4 years through a few different coaches within real life, and now you. I think if I hadn't had coaching, there would be a lot lower level of accountability. And I think for me, although I am very much a driven person, Kate will tell you that I'm always trying to do stuff. I'm always thinking of the next thing to do, which can stress her out a little bit. If there's no accountability, then it's easy to drop off something. And if you drop off something once, it's easier to drop off a couple of times. And then it becomes something where you can just sit not doing much. Even if you've got the best will and intention in the world to develop your business further forwards. So having that level of accountability is super important. The other thing as well is that they can come up with ideas and ways and even just get you to come to a realization of things that you already knew, but you didn't really push yourself to get to that realization for, which then opens doors. And those doors opening mean that you can then progress a lot quicker than what you would have done if you hadn't have got that coaching realization. I'm a massive advocate of coaching, obviously because I am a coach, but more so because I'm a success because of coaching as well.
It was never shared or expressed in school how important this is. Number one, because it never freaking happened. You know, and no one knows what real coaching is in that industry. I mean, no one is probably a bit of a harsh of a statement. I mean, maybe there is some people, but it's not promoted. It's not like, yes, basically it's not promoted. It's not advised. It's not say, hey, go ahead and do this and figure it out. So most people, they're probably like, those years of your life are the most important. And if it's not been promoted to say like, look, the best athletes in the world, they all got coach. You know, even these days they got like, even the footballers have got media coaches, how to be in the media, how to answer the questions in the media to make sure, you know, nothing blows up and crazy stuff is said. Film stars, I was actually just admiring how freaking amazing Tom Cruise is, like, and what's the other guy, Jason Statham. How amazing are these guys? These guys have got coaches. You think these guys just do it themselves? Do you think the guys goes from just being an actor to now they produce the movies that they're actually starring in? I mean, imagine that's a right handful. Can you guys imagine, you know, trying to figure that out, you know, doing that by yourself or not having some, you know, because here's a saying, you know, I heard this saying a long time back. One of my mentors, he said to me, he said, Mark, you cannot see the label from inside the jar. And that really helped me realize, like, you know what? No matter how much I think I know, I definitely don't. And when I realize I know nothing, that's when I'm intelligent. And I think that's what coaching does for me. Yeah, and I'm excited. I got another session for myself tomorrow. This is mindset. Yeah, because I think there's mindset and I think there's business. You know, I got a tennis coach. I got a personal trainer as well. And whatever industry I go into, I want to be like, hey, who can give me some advice? But there is a difference between mentoring and coaching. I think you guys need to know that. Maybe write your description of what you think the difference between coaching and mentoring is in the comments. Yeah, that would be pretty cool. Yeah, that would be pretty cool.
Yeah, I had a realization a little while back, because you know, we talk about coaching and mentoring and the differences, but I had this realization because I've heard about football coaches for years and years and years, ever since I was young. I had this realization that actually the best football coaches are the ones that can get you to realize your potential by not necessarily telling you how to do it, by enabling you to do it, empowering you to do it.
Yeah.
And if you can then find the right way to get into the mindset of the person to get them motivated, that coach is worth their weight in gold. And there are a lot of coaches in football that will be telling people to do it, which is fine, but they will never be the ones that get the best out of all of their players. As much as they try to, they'll be shouting at them to do it rather than giving them the tools to get there.
Yeah, which I'm sure there is a time for shouting when it comes to football. But like you say, I think it's when they get leverage on them. When they get leverage on the player to do it for a bigger reason than just themselves. and they get people to gel together and they make the moves and all the rest of it. Yeah. Okay. So we got to pick a winner, Dom. So you got to pick a number here. You know, so it's been narrowed down just to the top 5. Thank you for everyone entering. We got some people loving it on this one. So thanks for joining, Dom. Loads of expert info there. Do reach out to either Dom, myself, you know, the Real Life group if you need any assistance. We've got a lot of free resources on YouTube, LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram. Make sure you go follow those pages. Yeah. But Dom, you need to pick a number between 1 and 5.
4.
Get out of town. Okay, so the person has to still be here. The person has to still be here. So Ryan Smith, you got a comment right now. You got a comment right now. Right, Mr. Ryan Smith. So if he drops a comment in there, we are rocking and we are rolling. But yeah, just while we're waiting for that. Yes, there he is. Okay, so yeah, just send a message, Ryan, to the Mark Harvey page. Just put in #winner, and people will be in touch with you on how you get started. So you have won 3 months of one-to-one coaching from one of our real life results coaches. Oh, and there's your brother as well. Yeah. So Dom, if you had if you had a microphone that translated to every language in the world, and you only had 30 seconds to relay a message, what would that message be?
Work out what motivates you the most. Work out how you get to that point. Set yourself a plan and a strategy, and make it happen.
Boom, there we go. Didn't even use it. Very resourceful. I like it. And above all, we got this saying in our community. We have this saying that says you got to do the right thing for the right reason. Now, why is that?
It's the only way to discover your true potential.
There you go. You heard it here. Thank you for coming on, Dom. Thank you for everybody listening and watching and interacting. It's much appreciated. And as Dom said, make sure you do the right thing for the right reason, because it is the only way to discover your true potential. Thank you, and we see you next time.